Good morning. It is Christine Hendricks with Shashonee Sales. We're coming live. Where are you coming from, Shashonee?
Comanche, Oklahoma. In other words,
Comanche.
blink, you'll miss it, USA.
Kind of like Spencerville, Ontario. Blink, you miss it, Canada. I love it. Wow. So we were just starting to get into a little bit of things, and I said, okay, you have to not tell me stuff because I really want this to be off the cuff. And I asked you if you had other speaking experiences before coming into this group and me getting to know you through this group with Les Brown. And I would like to know you. So you mentioned that you started 10 years ago. I'd like to know more about that.
Okay. So in FFA, back in high school, I was very heavily involved in FFA, in our FFA program. And for 2 years, I was the chapter president. And we had speaking engagements and competitions that we would be able to take part in. And that was something, as a leader that I felt inclined to go ahead and take part in. And so, but since that point, I haven't really been involved in speaking up until this point, and there's a pretty good reason for that.
All right. Well, can we dig into the reason, or is that something you just don't want to talk about right now?
No, I'm open to talk about it.
Okay.
So out of high school, I've been told, that I'm a decent communicator, but I never really believed it. Okay, so it kind of all ties back into your whole mindset and where you are in life, and just kind of what you want to convey to the world and what you want to be remembered by. And so I actually grew up in a agricultural industry. Okay, I grew up on a farm and ranch, cow-calf operation, and I learned at a very young age what hard work was all about. And so that was instilled in me from a very young age. I was born in Fort Worth, Texas, and then I moved here to Comanche when I was 9 years old, and I've been here ever since. I'm 29 years old now. But growing up in this agricultural industry, I learned responsibility at a very young age. Okay, and so that hard work is not an option. It's inevitable. It's something that you just have to do. If you want anything in life, you have to be willing to work for it. And so that was instilled in me at a very young age. Now, with regards to the speaking industry, again, I was heavily involved in the FFA program and in speaking engagements as a leader. But after graduating, I went straight to work. And rather than investing in myself, I begin to invest in the work, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't, I'll try to be as clear as I can.
I understand that. So let me just put it in words the way that I think you're saying, and you can let me know. So,
Sure.
To go out and work and have a job and an income rather than taking the time to basically discover who you are and what
Exactly.
you're all about. Okay.
Exactly. Because I grew up in a very traditional format. Okay. Being um, in the agricultural industry, there's long lines of, you know, taking over the operation, working the operation, and passing it on to the next generation. It's just very traditional mentality, very traditional, but very hardworking. Very good in that way. It teaches you responsibility, and I apply the things that I do now as a cattle operator, that I apply to life now at this point. But yes, growing up in a traditional format, very, get an education, pursue a career, retire with a gold watch, so you can watch the rest of your time fade away, as Dr. Miles Monroe once said. So which is what I did, and it wasn't up until recently that back in 2020, when I lost my job due to the pandemic, that really ignited and really opened my eyes to understand that no matter how hard you work, no matter how good of a job that you do, no matter what kind of education background you have. I have a bachelor's degree. No matter what your credentials, what your resume may be, you are not guaranteed job security in this day and age. That is a
Not
fact. The job security is a thing of the past. The gold watch days are over. And so that solidified it for me. And I began to do some major research. And what can I invest in? What can I, again, I'm looking externally, what can I pursue that will enable me to have a secure life for me and my family? And how is that going to be able to impact something that I can leave outside of the ranch and operation? What else can I do? I've always been one that my dad calls me a busybody. I've always been one to be, have several different nest eggs if possible. I don't believe in just putting all your eggs in one basket, as the old saying goes. So,
absolutely. It's like, Shashonee, what are you doing now? Right?
quite a few different things. But yeah, but going back to my point is, when I lost my job due to the pandemic, I understood that I had to find something. And so I spent 8 months doing research, trying to figure out what it is that I could invest in to, yield, what I'm looking for in life. And so, after extensive research, following Tom Bilyeu's YouTube channel, Impact Theory, which I highly recommend anyone, follow. So many different experts, doctors, things that you can pick up from these different platforms. And I got to thinking, what are successful people doing that I'm not doing? And that was kind of the major question that I had in pursuit of my research and finding out what it is that I can invest in. And as Warren Buffett once said, I kind of come across one of his quotes is the best thing that a person can invest in is themselves.
100%.
Which is inevitably what I began to do, and which actually led me to Les Brown in the speaking industry, and which is what allowed me to dive headfirst into it. So
I love your calm, confident demeanor. I think you're going to be a wonderful speaker. I can't wait to see you emerging on stages and sending out a message. Do you have a specific message that you'd like to share? I'm going to put you front and center for this. Are you ready?
okay. Yeah.
Here we go.
So first and foremost, I would like to agree with each and every one of you for the simple fact that life is inevitably hard. It's difficult. There's no doubt about it. Life will present itself in ways through adversity, setbacks, failures, in various different ways. And what we as human beings have to do is be careful about not allowing circumstances, life's inevitable circumstances, to define us. I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. And, I pose the question, who actually believes that they have control of their life? In other words, you have to take responsibility for wherever it is you go in life. If you believe that, most people believe that. Most people understand that. But what they have to understand is that instead of looking externally to find the solution, which is what I did personally, you have to look within to figure out what it actually is, to find the true solution. And so, as T. Harv Eker once said, your outer world is a mirrored image of your inner world. What you have within is truly what your outer world is a reflection of. And so until a person actually begins to understand that, I believe that our society is suffering from an identity crisis. Okay. I believe there are so many people that are lost. That's why suicide rates are skyrocketing. That's why you have early pregnancy rates, various different things that, tragedies in life that people feel like they have no purpose, feel like they have no desire, really need to be here. Right. And so I encourage people to find your purpose. That may sound simple, but if you strive to find your purpose, only then will you be able to persevere in spite of fear. And so fear, we know, is false evidence appearing real. We paint this big hairy picture, this big scary monster of all these different things that, we don't want to approach. We don't want to make the necessary leap because it's uncertain. We don't like that. We live life in comfort zones. We don't want to stretch ourselves. But that's a natural thing that we do as human beings. So one thing that I need to say is that I've been studying the mind, the human brain. And when people people like Mel Robbins, people like Tony Robbins, various different doctors, physicians, they come out with these various studies. Why is it that we try to live reserved? Why is it that we don't like to step out there on the limb, put ourselves out there and take risks? As we know, as the law of diffusion of innovation states that 2.5% of the population is comprised of innovators. Why is that? I oftentimes ask the question, why this, why that, but the thing of it is we naturally want to be comfortable. We don't want to step out there and put ourselves out there. But the truth is, in order to be successful, like everybody wants to be, everybody wants to be rich and wealthy, but until you desire to be, you will never be. And so until you step out there, act on faith, you will never have it. You have to be willing to take that step. You have to be willing to, persevere in spite of. And so my story in general is, back when I was 17 months of age, I was diagnosed with large cell lymphoma cancer. And I underwent various treatments for 1.5 years, chemotherapy. And at one point, I was described to look as someone who was displaying anorexia. I had a swollen abdomen due to the fact that cancer had consumed my body. It was in my bloodstream. It was eating on my bones and my kidneys, and so bad that the doctor told my mother that I would inevitably have to be set up on dialysis due to the fact that my kidneys would undoubtedly fail. Okay, and it come to a point to where the doctor walked in and told my mother that, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but your baby boy has 48 hours to live.
Oh, wow.
And so my mother, who she wasn't really in a relational person with regards to her, our creator and that, but she began to cry out, asking, and making a promise that if you would just give me my baby back, I would give him back to you, crying out to God. And, she received word through the Holy Spirit that your baby boy would be healed and that there would be no repercussions of cancer. And
That's amazing.
I'm happy to tell you that due to God's healing hand, I'm here to this day. 27 years later, cancer free, and I've been cancer free ever since. Thanks be to God's healing hand. And so for all of those people who are out there who have lost hope, all those people who are out there wondering why, why me, or I don't see a better way for me. I don't see a way out of no way, which is where I was at one point. I'm living proof that God is just as powerful today as he was 2,000 years. It's so very important. That's my message that I want to relay to the world, that I'm a living testimony. You don't have to believe anything that I say. I'm living proof that there is still hope. Me being here, I believe that I'm living on borrowed time. 27 years post-cancer, borrowed time. And I believe that's my only reason for being here, is to inspire and empower people to look within themselves, to find their purpose in life, and manifest their gifts, talents, and abilities into this world, because I truly believe That's what each and every one of us are here for. And we're all unique in our own image. That's why, a lot of times when people strive to be like somebody else, they fail. There's a simple explanation for that. You weren't designed to be like that person. You have to find that you have to embrace your uniqueness. Everybody's beautiful in their own image, even if they don't think they are. And when they embrace that and accept that, who they are, and begin to look within, which is where you'll find your answer. Stop looking externally, but look within. You'll find it. Okay? And some people oftentimes ask, how do you know what your gifts are? How do you tap into whatever it is that you feel like you are called to do, right? The thing that you do the very best with the least amount of effort is your answer. But the key is to work on that skill, work on that craft, work on whatever it is, because only you could write that book. Only you could sing that song. Only you could build that specific structure that we need in our world today. Only you could touch that life or save that life that I could never touch. And when people begin to understand that, that's when everything will change. I have a vision that people will begin to, when they come to that realization and understand what their purpose is, and they tap into their gifts and natural gifts, do what it is that you were born to do rather than what somebody has told you to do.
Ooh, I like that.
And so the thing of it is when they really understand that, and see, not very long ago, I didn't really understand that we function. And I'm sorry if I need to step off the stage for a minute, but
no, you keep going. I'm loving what you're talking about.
Okay, so what people need to understand is, until you reconstruct your mind, you will never get to where you want to go. I say that intentionally. Until you make change here, you will never get to where you want to go. Or even if you desire to get somewhere, and I say desire intentionally, because everybody wants something, but until you desire it, have that obsession to actually acquire it, you will never have it. That's why I say that. And so, but until you begin to change your mindset, you will never be able to get there. And here's why. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but 90 to 95% of our day, we live unconsciously. We live out of our unconscious. In other words, it's habitual. Only 5 to 10% of our day, we act out of our conscious mind. We are consciously aware of what we're actually doing. That was a crazy statistic when I come across it. And to understand that, to know that we are acting today from yesterday's precondition, well, if we're stuck in yesterday, how are we going to ever progress for the future? So if we begin to start reconstructing our mind and being more consciously aware of our state throughout our day, entire day, we will never be able to make change. But once we do, our lives, the world is at our feet. So.
Wow, that is incredible. I'm actually really happy you talked about this today. I'm sure it's going to reach somebody out there and make an impact on them. You actually answered a question. I actually copied this from our messages, and you answered a question I wanted to ask you. But
Yes.
I loved it when you sent me this. So you said you honestly felt that sharing your message and story to inspire and empower others is your sole reason for being here, and that you felt like you were living on borrowed time. And and when I saw that, I copied it because I was like, I'm going to ask him about that, why he feels like he's living on borrowed time, because I had no idea this story that you have of cancer, and it's incredible. The fact that, not only your mother was told basically you had 48 hours, and then you've recovered and recovered fully, and you have no cancer today, right?
Correct. And so to kind of touch on that as well, the doctor that told me that my kidneys would undoubtedly fail, and that I would have to be placed on dialysis. I've never been placed on dialysis. I've never had a kidney and or an organ transplant.
So
Everything
you're
that
a
you
true
see today
miracle.
is. And you know, most doctors, most physicians, and I don't say this stereotypically, even though it may come off this way, but do not believe in God or, you know, a higher power, you know, that more along the lines of evolution type of thing, you know, Big Bang Theory, whatever, you know. But my doctor specifically told my mother that Shashonee Sales is a true miracle baby. He
Wow.
actually admitted that, because in everybody that was involved in my life that actually witnessed what I went through and what, you know, God brought me through, is not me. I'm not some, you know, special human with, I'm Superman or anything like that, or, you know, the modern day what,
It's a
Captain
blessing.
America, right? You know, you know,
Oh,
it's, you know, I was literally ill, you know, and I feel, and with regards to living on borrowed time, that is something, you know, most people say that I'm in remission, right? That's the um, technical term for my state where I'm at post cancer,
doctor term.
right? You know, science goes so far, but then comes God. That's my philosophy. You know, and that's a fact in my opinion. But yeah, so living on borrowed time with regards to why I chose to become a speaker. I have always been silent my whole life. You know, they just to be clear to the audience, the viewers here. Well, you know, Shashonee, you kind of look like you may have grown up in some money. Obviously, you had a ranch. You know, you're kind of working in that deal. You know, you kind of probably had that cookie cutter life. Let me go ahead and set the record straight. I did not have a cookie cutter life. Let me go ahead and dive off into that if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So first and foremost, I was born out of an affair, conceived out of an affair. Let me get it correct, politically correct. My mother was married at the time to an abusive man, physically, mentally, verbally. And my father was the calm in her storm at the time, who she was not married to, right? And here I come. By accident, obviously, I wasn't planned. And some people may classify, well, you know, you're an abomination or you're this and you're that. And so for people, you know, and I could play victim to, well, I don't have a purpose in life. I was a mistake. I wasn't planned, which is where I think a lot of people kind of, you know, kind of fit, you know, especially if they were at, you know, a rape you know, they come about by being, you know, a victim of a rape or something like that. And they feel like they don't have any purpose and they're a mistake. I believe that God there is good in everything. But again, it goes to reconstructing your mind, because you can look at a glass as being half empty, or you can see the glass as being half full. It's all in your perception on how you view.
Oh, you froze up on me. Oh, you froze up on me. I'm just gonna take a minute here. Oh,
There we
you
go.
froze up. You froze up there for a good 30 seconds, maybe 20 seconds.
Okay.
I'm gonna interject actually before you carry on what you have been talking about and where we left off. So basically, people can look at their situation and they can be a victim, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm a victim of circumstances,
Correct.
or they can look at it and think about it differently and be a victor and come out
Right.
on top. So that's where we kind of left off.
Yes. Yes. And so it goes back to, inevitably, it goes back to choices, you know, and kind of, and your.
Uh-oh, we're freezing up again. Dang it. I don't know why we're freezing up. Oh, there, we're losing your signal. We lost your signal. Oh, there you're back.
Is it
That whole,
on my end?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Hey,
It
Murphy.
shouldn't.
Hey, by the way, Murphy's Law is real, by the way. If, prime
It
example.
is. Well, maybe we
Yeah.
shouldn't make it too much longer and push our luck. Maybe we're
Okay.
on borrowed internet time right now.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
we'll shorten it up.
That's okay. That's okay.
Because I find usually it doesn't get better quickly, but
Right.
hopefully we can hang in there and finish this.
Okay.
But I know where you're going with this and where you would end this is with a question. I'd like you to share that.
So my ultimate question to the viewers is, if you had 48 hours to live, how would you live it? That ties directly into, at one point in my life, I was given
Completely froze up again. That's unfortunate. We're having such a great chat, and anyways,
trying to think.
hopefully we get you back there. There you are. So yeah, dang internet, it has to be something.
That's okay. That's
I'm
okay.
waiting for Starlink. I can't wait to get Starlink because I do know my internet's bad out here, but
Okay.
at this time of the day, it's usually the best. So,
Okay. Yeah.
anyways,
So let me go ahead and kind of wrap this up for you, because I know we're having
sure.
a lot of trouble here, but that's my major question to everyone. You know, as Benjamin Aurelius once said, stop living each day like you have 1,000 years to live. We're here today and we're gone today. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, but until you start living your life with that in the forefront of your mind, you won't make change. You'll put it off 20, 30, 40 years. You know, well, one of these days when I get the house paid off, or one of these days when the kids move out. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Act today, because it is so very important. You are here for a reason. That's what I want to have everybody understand, is that you are here for a reason. And when you find that purpose, to truly experience true life fulfillment and joy, and experience that, you have to tap into your purpose for being here, your skill sets, your natural born skills, ability, and talents. Tap into those things, bring those out, and work on those things daily. Work on your mind. Self-development is the biggest, that has been a life changer for me. And I encourage each and every person to invest in themselves. As Warren Buffett once said, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. Stop looking externally to find your solution, because you will never find it. You have to look within you. Tap into your creator and within yourself. Increase that, strengthen that relationship with your higher power, your creator, right? Universe, God, however you want to classify it, and manifest what you naturally have within you. And it comes easy to you. You don't have to really look. God put it in a place that you couldn't miss it. He put it within yourself. So, but you have to reconstruct your mind. Self-development is key to having the life you desire to live.
So one of the things that I have developed through this group with Les Brown was, we all have that treasure within with a light in it. Are we going to take it out and let it shine, or are we just going to leave it in there? So that ties perfectly with the message that I'm trying to put out there as well.
Awesome.
So I'm going to take this off. Thank you. I still have tons of questions, but I just don't want our internet to go.
That's okay. Ask away. Let's run with it while we got good connection.
Well, I just want our viewers to know that they can find you on Twitter.
Yes.
And they can find you on LinkedIn.
Correct.
And that you actually have a YouTube channel as well. It's probably easier just to search your name, though, than follow the link. Well, if they can, I think I put them in the descriptions. I need to check. I meant to if I didn't.
That's okay.
And so they can, if the links are there, they can follow them, but they can also search you with your unique name.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so let's just do where's my questions? I have to go to my questions. Okay. Okay, what's your favorite quote and who said it?
Okay, so that's actually an easy one to go to because, and I'll explain why, but W. Clement Stone once said, whatever the mind of a man can conceive, it can be achieved.
That's who said that. I like him. I've read a book of his. No, I think it was I was listening to cassette tape.
Cassette tape. Yeah, you got to go way back on that one.
That somebody had given me,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, I listened to that tape over and over and over. It was incredible. I think I still have it somewhere.
Yes. Yes.
He was great.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's kind of a funny story with that. It's not really a story, but I actually have that quote written down on a sheet of paper, and I have it taped to the ceiling above my bed. So every morning when I wake up, that's the first thing I see. And every night before I go to bed, that's the last thing I see. I'm all about visualization.
I really love that, and this is going to be hilarious. I need to do that actually. So when my kids were young, I did the exact same thing, except for it wasn't quotes. It was the times tables for my older son because he was learning his times tables. It was short 3-letter words for my youngest son because he was, in the younger grades just learning to read. And it was addition and subtraction stuff for my middle son.
Okay.
I don't know why I didn't think to do that for myself. I love that. That's awesome.
Yes.
All right. What is something fun you like to do?
With regards to recreation,
Anything you want, anything fun. It's fun.
Something I love getting with groups of friends and people. I love collaborating with people, and because in groups there's power. I feel like we are, what is it, Maslow's theory of six steps or whatever of needs, hierarchy of needs.
Oh, the hierarchy of needs. Yes.
Yes, Maslow's. Well, anyway, I believe that is, and that's why, because we are better in the numbers, and so just everybody getting together, having a good time, whether it's they're coming together at the house, barbecue and stuff like that. I love being able to collaborate and fellowship with friends and family like that. As far as traveling, that's something that I want to dive into because I've never done that. I've always kind of been here at the house, work your life away, right? But I want to actually get out there and see the world, see what God actually created, and just really enjoy that, at this point moving forward. So
that would be fun. I have
yeah.
my dream is to go to Rome and travel, but yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. Okay. If you had one wish, what would it be?
Okay, that's a simple one. My wish, I often talk about having fear, false evidence appearing real, as we know. But I do have a fear, and that is that I do not fulfill my God-given purpose for being here. Crossing over, not having fulfilled my purpose in life. So if I was to have a wish, was to make sure that I fulfill my purpose before crossing over, right?
Wow, that's a powerful wish. Well, I hope that wish comes true for you.
I should appreciate it.
Okay, so I don't know if this would be covered already or if you have something different, but if someone met you for the first time, what might they find interesting about you?
I like bass singing, like quartet groups.
Oh, cool.
But I'm really intrigued by like bass singing. I love, like, instruments are great. Don't get me wrong. We can all jam out, right? And but at the same time, I am something about when voices come together and blend. To me, that's like a straight from heaven kind of sound. And bass singing is something that some people don't get into it, but I absolutely love it. And I'm not just straight Southern, quartet groups, where they're all singing from hymnals or anything like that. But, I love kind of the modern stuff that come out. I follow a group called Home Free, they have all kinds of diverse music. You know, they do covers for various
You're
albums.
welcome to sing if you want.
Let's save that for another day.
Well, my son, I was telling him, about something I was working on, and he, the little song come out. And I'm like, I don't know if I should sing it or just say it, what the song is. And he says, and he makes his own music, and he says, Mom, he says, I know how to hear it. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, because he said he didn't care how he sounded because he knew how to hear it.
Oh,
And I was like, wow.
has that ear.
It,
Yep.
you know, it, anyways, it can be beautiful. It may
Yeah.
not be on key, but it is beautiful in itself. And he was so right. It just was really great. So
Awesome.
I actually like to sing in the choir myself.
Okay.
And I always say I have a terrible voice, except for when I'm in the choir loft, because while I'm at church singing in the choir, God does something to it.
Yep.
And somehow it's good. Only at church can I sound good.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up with
Sure.
this last question. And then I'll give you a chance if you have more you want to add.
Okay.
So, what is something you're looking forward to doing in the future?
Serving. I've up until this point in my life, and I hate to admit it, but I'm one that I can actually look in the mirror and admit when I'm wrong. First thing to fixing or solving anything is first establishing that there's an issue or a problem. And so I'm really big on that. And I'm big on taking ownership of my life. And so, I feel like if I don't know, I'm drawing a blank here. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
I'll put it back up
I
for
was
you.
going somewhere with that. I was kind of digressing.
Something you're looking forward to in the future. And I love the
Yeah,
fact you said
with regards
serve.
to yes, with regards to serving. So with up until now, I have lived kind of a selfish life. Everything that I have acquired, everything I have accumulated has been for me and mine, right? My family, at this point, because I feel upon my heart that it is time for me to no longer be silent, but to take my message into my story to the world. That's what I truly believe why I'm here, why God has spared me this much time, is because it is time that I serve others. It is time for me to actually help others because, as Jim Rohn once said, you know, in order to, the key to being able to have more or acquire more, you can only acquire more by giving, right? And so when you understand that concept, people don't really understand that. So if I give my time away, if I give all this away, I'm not going to have time for myself. But the truth is, where the magic happens is in the giving. Scripture says, give and you shall receive. And so when people begin to start practicing that, and I've seen it true, become true in my own life, when you start giving, you actually naturally attract things, naturally come your way, resources, money, you name it, whatever you need, your needs will be met. And so, but you have to practice it. You have to take that step. And so, but that's really what I want to be able to do moving forward, is focus more on giving rather than receiving, because in the end, what matters most is what you have within.
I really like that. And it ties perfectly with what one of my favorite quotes is. And I believe it's Zig Ziglar who said, if you help enough people get what they want, inevitably you will get what you want.
Yes.
And that's serving.
Yes.
That's serving. And that's what he's trying to say. Serve. Don't think about yourself, because it will come.
Right.
I love
Absolutely.
that. So do you have any final words or messages for anybody who would be watching today? I did see somebody on here earlier. They gave us a thumbs up, so thank you, whoever that was.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to clear up that Jim Rohn quote. The quote is actually, only by giving are you able to receive more than what you already have. That's the original quote. But I just want to encourage all the viewers, everybody in this world that's willing to hear and receive what I have to say, is that you are an amazing individual. You have greatness within you. Regardless of whether you can see it right now, you have a specific purpose for being here on this planet. And when you come to the realization of your purpose, the life you desire to have will be at your disposal, will be at your feet. You will have the world at your feet. And so but first you have to work on your mind. First you have to work on yourself. Invest more on yourself than you do on your job, as Jim Rohn once said. Because when you do that, that is when the magic happens. That is when everything will drastically change for you in your life. And I encourage you, I uplift you. Reach out to me on any social media platform. I'm out there. Just type in Shashonee Sales on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Follow the channel. And because all I have to give, I feel like the rest of my days is to better serve you. Anything that I can do to help you, anything that I can do along your journey, because life isn't a sprint, it's a journey. I believe that's why I'm here. I want to help you tap into your gifts, talents, and abilities, help you manifest those gifts into the world, because ultimately that's your purpose for being here. Christine, I thank you for your time. Thank you for having me on at this point. It's truly been an honor and a privilege, and I'm so thankful. Thank you.
Thank you. It was my privilege. And Katina Fuller Scott said it's a great interview and she loved it. So I'm glad she's enjoying it. And before we go, I almost completely forgot you have a book coming out. I did say you were a poet.
Yes.
Now we've got a little time here because our internet's working. Is your book about poetry, your story? Just give us a brief synopsis, without getting too far into it.
Sure, that's okay. So the book will be titled, "If You Had 48 Hours to Live, How Would You Live It?" And it's basically going to be a journey through my life, understanding that from where I started to where I'm going. And the reason for that is there's, again, it goes back to, there's so many people out there who feel like that because of their circumstances, they can't get where they want to go or desire to go. But if you see that Shashonee Sales did it, you can do it.
Awesome. Thank you. So is that going to be out on Amazon shortly?
Yes, I'm actually putting the finishing touches on the book at this point. I will be sending it to an editor and then be getting it published promptly. So I'm really excited.
Awesome. I'm sure it'll be very, very helpful to people out there and, give them inspiration, lift their spirits. Thank you again for being here. It's I'm losing my voice. It's been 100% has been my pleasure. So we'll say goodbye to our viewers and thank you again.
All right. Y'all take care.